My name is Tarun. I got into Georgetown EA. My stats are I had a 3.96 unweighted. I had a 1520 SAT, which I took once because of COVID impacted me taking it again. So I never would have thought that I would end up at Georgetown, but it happened. I think my essays were a huge factor in me getting into Georgetown with your help. And I also think my extracurricular activities is another thing that really helped me.
Yeah, there's no question that you also chose a really interesting major, and I love how that connected to your activities. Because I even hate the word activities, Theron, when you say it sounds like we're just joining clubs. I mean, you're an EMT, you're doing really serious things. Would you just talk about that a little bit? I mean, look at what you're wearing. Can I see
Yeah.
you're like literally wearing
I
your.
just came back from the station.
So tell me what you're going to be majoring in, and let's think through how you got into Georgetown.
I applied for the School of Nursing and Health Studies, and I'm going to be majoring in human science, which is a major that was the major that really caught my eye for Georgetown. And I think it fits perfectly with me. It's on the pre-med track. It's more clinical. It has a lot of research opportunities. You can travel the world and do research your sophomore year. You can apply to the honors program. So all of those things were appealing to me.
Indeed, and that connected to being an EMT since I want to say ninth or 10th grade. Is that right?
Yeah, ninth grade.
Ninth grade. So that's something that a lot of families don't understand, is that you don't wait until 11th or 12th grade to start figuring this out. And I really admire your mother and your whole family, the way you guys have put this together, because you were really intentional early. And because of that, it pays off the dividends now. So that's really very exciting. Tell me a little bit more about the research you've done and the research you hope to do when you get to Georgetown.
Yeah, so my junior year, I secured an internship with Dr. Angela Gibson at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and she was studying wound regeneration and burn wound reepithelialization in burn victims. And I asked if I could join her lab. I did a whole bunch of independent research. I designed my own independent projects too in school, submitted those all to her, and she said, yes, I would love to have you. So I was preparing myself for a 6 to 7 week internship. And then COVID happened and my internship was canceled. So all of the research that I didn't get to actually do it firsthand in the lab with like live samples and with Dr. Gibson and her team. But I'm hoping that at Georgetown, Georgetown is an R1 research facility. And with my major, I'm hoping that I can kind of like bring that research back to life again in a different laboratory at Georgetown.
And what was interesting is that you were able to actually talk about that missed opportunity as part of one of your essays. Because I know that primarily what you guys brought me in to do was the essay
Yeah.
coaching. I know I also was working with you a little bit on the list, and I remember being a little bit of like, are we sure we want to do Georgetown? now it's like the joke's on me, right? I'm so happy that it worked out in your favor. And I think it might be interesting to also just mention you are a twin,
Hmm.
and your brother has applied early to Duke
Hmm.
and is finding out tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow. Yep.
So I don't know if you feel like there's any sibling rivalry there, but are you walking around the house a little bit different now that you've got that under your belt?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's an amazing thing to realize that your hard work and your commitment, and you were what we call around here a 911 emergency call, because you came to me as a senior.
Hmm.
Typically students start with me by ninth or 10th grade, and I really would have been hesitant to take you on as a client if you hadn't already done the things we talked about before. And so I'm really happy that you had that foundation in place, so that all I needed to do was help you sort of figure out how to place language and narrative and craft around telling the right stories in the right way. And you certainly did. You knocked it out of the park.
I think as a direct result working with you, I think my essays were way better than I ever could have written. And I think you not only helped me generate ideas for my essays, but also taught me like essay skills. And I can use those skills in future essays. I can use them in regular decision applications, in school essays, and things like that. And I think my writing got a lot better. I was able to. I think a big thing that you kind of highlighted was weaving the narrative thread, and that's something that stuck with me. And in school too. I mean, I've been focusing on weaving the narrative thread throughout school essays and things like that. So I think the little tips and tricks that you gave me, as well as kind of like pushing me to bring out ideas from my head that I never knew I would have written about in my essays, or were something that made my essays brought them to the next level. And I think that's the reason why I got into Georgetown.